Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad, your best place for weekly content on young American soccer players playing overseas. My name's Austin Van Schuren,
And my name's Patrick Ferry.
and welcome to our show. Well, guys, we had a very action-packed weekend. Isn't that right, Pat?
That's right, Austin. We had a lot going on, especially in Germany when the Bundesliga is back. So a lot of American action there.
That's right. Loved every bit of it too. And then we also had some, players in Scotland who made their debut. And what are we going to call those players, Pat?
That's right, Austin. We're calling them the Scottish Yankees.
I like it. And they had a great weekend as well. So let's get into our episode. So the first player we want to start with this week is a player who scored on his debut, Pat. And who would that be?
That's right, Austin. We have Tim Weah for Celtic on that 6-month loan. So it was exciting to see him make his debut for the Scottish Giants over this weekend in Scottish Cup action against, I don't even know the team. I'm going to pronounce it, Austin. I don't even want to try. It was like Amiens. Let's just stop there. But anyway, it was a fantastic little cameo Tim Weah had. He actually came on in the 69th minute for Scott Sinclair, who actually has been killing it for Celtic. He actually had the first 2 goals. And so Tim Weah came in, looked pretty dominant. I know some of the videos we were talking offline on Twitter that were shared, every one of his touches. And he had a beautiful cross, a dangerous ball in towards the back post. He had some good combinations and looked pretty comfortable and had a really nice run kind of off the central defenders there. As I think it was one of the center backs that might have played him through.
Yeah, it was Diedrich Boyata who played for Belgium at the World Cup, and it was a really nice pass.
Yeah, really nice pass. Opened him up, and Tim Weah, as cool as you'd like and confident, kind of touched it.
Little toe poke.
Little toe poke, yeah, right around the goalie, and celebrated very enthusiastically. Showed off that Celtic badge or crest.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot from him in his celebrations. A lot of enthusiasm, should I say?
That's right. And Austin, I think a lot of people were saying that it is against a team, I think, in the 3rd tier of Scotland,
right?
A mid-table team. So don't get your hopes too high. But also, I think it's a really, really good debut, regardless, and really great confidence booster for Tim Weah. Not really playing as much for PSG's first team that we've seen recently, and being able to kind of come right in and impress Brendan Rodgers during the cup action, I think is a dream start in my opinion.
Yeah, I think scoring a goal in your debut for a club is always good, and all the things we've heard from Brendan Rodgers so far is that he plans on playing Tim Weah over the next 6 months. So just in your first action with the club, to score, that can only bode well in the mind of your manager. In this case, Brendan Rodgers. So I think even though it was against a 3rd-tier opponent, Tim came on, looked very active. I thought he did well in his debut. I didn't really expect much more in terms of a good start to his Celtic career. So
right, absolutely,
it's exciting to see.
And just kind of I want to touch on the formation a bit, Austin, as well.
Okay.
We were playing a 4-2-3-1, and it looked like Weah again subbed in for Sinclair, who was playing on the left of that three up in the attacking range. I did notice he kind of floated a little bit to the right there. That's actually how he got his goal, from left to right there. But it looks like he was mainly playing on that left wing side, which I know we've kind of seen him there a little bit for the U.S. in some games too.
Yeah, I think he is a better striker, and this goal kind of shows that, just because his movement's so good. He has such good movement for such a young player. But he can also play on the wing, and he did some good things in those wide areas. Like you said, he had that really nice cross into the box, and he did that from that left wing position. So I mean, I'd like to see him play as a striker. I wouldn't say exclusively, but more often than not. But if he can make things happen from the left wing, and if he can get playing time for Celtic on the wings, then I'm perfectly fine with him playing out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, Austin, I think really good point you brought up, just getting playing time in week in and week out. And with Celtic being involved, obviously staying in the top of the first place in the Premiership there, to all the cups they're still in currently, domestically. I think they might,
Right.
I could be wrong. I think they dropped to the Europa League. I think or are they out now? I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that again.
Right, I'll have to look at it too. I know they were knocked out of the Champions League, but
Oh, okay. Then yeah, they're in the Europa League if they're knocked out of the Champions League. So
right. I believe they finished third in the group, but regardless, I think there's quite a few still competitions for Tim Weah to cement his spot in that lineup.
yeah, absolutely. And like we said before, they're in a tighter race this year for for I guess the championship in the Scottish Premier League. It's a closer race than it has been in years past. So it sounds like Celtic will be looking for different options to score goals over the rest of the season, and Tim could be that option.
That's right. Yeah, he'd be a great option. And, it's funny, too. I want to bring up quickly on the side. I was scrolling through and I saw Neymar actually said some nice words about Tim Weah, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
I forget what sports outlet or thing like that. But, yes, Neymar had some high praise. It seems like a lot of his, striking partners at PSG, some of those stars were saying he has, great work ethic, great talent to be a, huge player in the world of soccer. So, definitely some high praise from Neymar, which you don't see very often. So I figured I'd bring that up.
Yeah, that is pretty cool to see. Yeah, I mean, what else could you want if you're a young player? Praise of one of the world's best, endorsing you pretty much, saying that you could be a world-class player one day. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
But I know one player I think that is taking some great steps to become a fantastic player in the Bundesliga, Austin. I know he had a great performance this weekend.
That's right. And he's kind of, I guess, taking the throne from Christian Pulisic a little bit.
Well, I like that, taking the throne.
Or at least this summer. Yeah. And that would be Weston McKennie. So Weston started for Schalke and played into extra time for them in their 2-1 win over Wolfsburg this weekend. And it was kind of a tale of two halves for him, but he did I thought he did okay in the first half of this game, but I thought he did phenomenal in the second half, Pat, in this game against Wolfsburg. And he was just a menace, really, all day. He was very physical, and then he also combined a lot of good touch and great vision. He also had an assist in this game, and he just looked – he put it all together in the second half for, I think, the first time I've ever seen him in a Schalke shirt, and it was impressive.
That's great news, Austin. It's great to see. So do you think, I guess, the more offensive part of his game is really developing at Schalke, or would you say maybe even playing a bunch of different positions throughout his time there has kind of helped him adapt to different kind of situations, or do you kind of see him getting, I guess, better in one area?
Yeah, so it's been well documented, kind of like you said, that he has been played in a bunch of different positions over the past 2 years, and he's been played more in an advanced position this year. And in this game, he was also supposedly a left mid in their lineup at the beginning of the game. Yeah. But he kind of floated around the pitch in this game, and it really did him well. There was times where he'd be kind of dropped back into that defensive 6 role for a little bit, and then there was times where I saw him on the left as kind of like a left wing, on the right, kind of up the field as a right wing, and then there's also times where he'd be kind of working as that secondary striker, as he's been working, at times this year. And he just did a great job of combining, or I guess transitioning Schalke from defense to offense. So there was multiple times in this game where he did really well to win a ball and then right away take the ball upfield, find another pass or play another pass. And then right after that pass, make a run up the field. There was one play that I'm thinking of in general, or specifically, excuse me, not in general, but specifically where I wish we could show it on this video, but the Bundesliga has very strict copyright issues. So
sorry, guys.
if we did, unfortunately, our video would get taken down. But there was this great play where he got in front of a player winning the ball, then turned the ball right upfield, dribbled right by another player, held him off, played a pass perfectly inside. That was pretty hard to see out of the corner of his eye, then completely, ran down the field. The ball got crossed into the box, and then the ball came back to him, and he took a first-time shot, and it was inches off the goal. And it was just a really exciting sequence of play, and something that, I haven't seen Weston really do something like that in a Schalke shirt yet, or at least not. He didn't do it to the effect that he did in this half for Schalke, where he was just dominating play and dominating every aspect of the game. It was really impressive. It was, I think, his first game where he's kind of put all of his attributes together and shown that he can actually, be very tenacious defending. He can also be a very insightful passer of the ball, and then he can also be very skillful on the ball, because he took the ball by several players in this game, kind of reminiscent of what Christian Pulisic does in a Dortmund shirt, which was really interesting to see. And, if we can get this consistency from Weston, I honestly believe he could become, I know the word's been thrown out so much just in recent times, but world-class player. I think he could become one of the best midfielders in the world if we can put in performances like this, because he dominated the game. He really did.
That's awesome. A strong statement, and I love it, Austin. I love it. And would you say, I guess this is really a time to need that they needed Weston to step up like this? Because I know just in terms of the Bundesliga, they weren't doing as well as usual. I know with the Champions League too, it can kind of spread your roster thin there. But
right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, as we've documented in our show so far this year, Schalke have been struggling all year just to get points. And I believe they sat going into the day in 13th position. So they were out of the relegation zone, and I think there were 5 points ahead of automatic relegation going into the day. I'm not 100% sure on that, but, they won this game. They looked a lot better in this game than any other game I've watched this year. And I've watched pretty much every Schalke game this year, at least every Schalke game that Weston McKennie has been involved in. And it's always brutal to watch Schalke. They're never cohesive going forward. It's a lot of defending and a lot of just kind of last-ditch defending where they're always on the back foot. They don't play well together. They're kind of out of sync. And in this game, they looked a lot different than they did in the first part of the season. And they were getting, chances kind of left and right in this game, and they really dominated the game, which was not the case at all in the first half of the year. So, it's definitely a shift for them, and I think Weston was a big reason why they looked a lot better.
That's awesome. Keep going, Weston.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was going to also mention that Weston McKennie in this game reminded me a lot of Leon Goretzka for Schalke last year, and the fact that Leon Goretzka was kind of Schalke's do-it-all midfielder. He's not the strongest midfielder, and I thought Weston in this game, showed great strength and a lot of challenges. But in terms of getting forward and creating chances and opportunities and, being confident on the ball and having good vision, I thought Weston completely kind of embodied or resembled what Leon Goretzka did for Schalke last year. And Leon Goretzka is, becoming a very, very good player, if not a world-class player. So, I think that's
very
really
good. That's a great comparison, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's kind of an easy comparison to make since they both played together, but I think it's a very fair comparison after watching this game. I think, like I said, maybe Weston was a little bit more bullish going into tackles and bodying people up, just because Leon Goretzka doesn't really do that as well as Weston did in this game. But I thought, in terms of going forward, he really resembled Leon Goretzka. So it was great. So hopefully we get to see more of Weston. Now, it is important to note that he did pick up a yellow card in this game, so he will not be available for Schalke's next match against Hertha. But
oh, really? Yeah. Accumulate a few yellow cards. Okay.
Yeah, he did pick up a yellow card in this game. And I think he had a decent amount of yellow cards in the first half of the year. So unfortunately, he'll be out next game, but Schalke will definitely miss him. So we'll see if they can get some points in their next game, and then hopefully he can get back into that starting lineup. I don't think I'll have an issue with that. So, we'll have to keep you guys monitored on that. So now let's go over to England, Pat, and talk about a player in the Championship. And who would that be?
That's right. And this player is really helping Derby County make a great push to get up to the Premier League. And that's Duane Holmes, Austin, a name
Nice.
that we've been talking about recently on this show. And he's had a great, again, like we've mentioned, a great trajectory and career path so far. He actually this Saturday was involved, got his full 90 minutes, which is exciting, and a man of the match performance. A 2-1
Another
win
one.
over Reading. Yeah, another one. He's racking him up, and it looks like Lampard's really trusting him there.
Yeah,
But
that's really exciting.
yeah, it's awesome. And just some key stats here. He actually had 100% dribble and tackle success, 3 interceptions, and then 1 goal. So that's pretty impressive to have two 100% categories there. I would say that's a pretty good day at the office.
Yeah, especially dribbling, because he's a very skillful player from what we've seen.
Yeah, and his movement was incredible. You could really see him adjusting to, I guess, the way that Lampard's wanting his team to play. And he's been noted some inconsistencies as maybe why he hasn't gotten as many starts. But it looks like he's really starting to buy into that philosophy. And he actually had this really, really great intelligent run where he was kind of on the left side of the field, and even I think it was like a pass or two before it even happened. He saw that I think it was Harry Wilson played it into another central midfielder, and even before that, Duane Holmes was already sprinting behind two of the an outside mid and the center back and cut across perfectly. And the ball was played to him right there, and he again slotted it across to the goalie. Cool, calm finish on the far post, and it was great to see him kind of get that goal, Austin.
Okay. Yeah, it was a good goal from what I saw. Very, I would say, kind of simple goal, but at the same point in time, took some good finishing. So
yeah, it was just fantastic. And just I was watching 5 or 6 seconds before that even happened. You could just see like his head pick up really quick, like head on a swivel, and he knew where to go, where to sprint to across the field there. So that's kind of great to see. And again, I know we've been really excited and wanting him to hopefully get a U.S. cameo soon in the future. I think he's definitely from Scunthorpe up here to Derby County now is kind of well deserving of a brief cameo with Berhalter.
Yeah, definitely, I would say. Yeah, like you said, we've kind of been monitoring Duane for a long time, and just to see him have the success this season has been great to see. It's so good to see that from him. So
it's awesome, and you can really tell that Lampard's putting great trust in Duane, because now it's getting to the crucial part of the season here where they're in 6th, so they're in that playoff promotion playoff spot, but kind of on the fringe there. So and everything's pretty tight, and you don't want to lose sight of staying within that realm there, because the championship can be a dark hole, Austin, if you get sucked there into the mid-table. So
that's true. Just ask Sunderland.
Oh man,
they're not even in the championship anymore.
Sunderland until I die. Yeah. But I think again, like we mentioned, Duane has all the tools, all the tangibles. He just needs to put it more consistent performances, and we really saw that with his 90 minutes in this game. Again, some other kind of key notes, I guess, from the highlights I was watching, just his kind of combination with the players. Again, more off the ball movement. His speed is it's unreal. That was one of the highlights that Lampard mentioned that he loved about Duane, is just that raw, like natural speed and that quick shift of gear that he can kind of turn into almost. I don't want to make this comparison, but kind of like the Raheem Sterling, how he can shift gears in that sense. Sense. So I think that would be a great asset for the U.S. to have too.
Yeah, and he's got I don't want to sound weird when I say this, but he's got like a very nice build in the sense that he looks like he won't get shoved off the ball very easily. Like he's got like a solid frame. I don't know
that's a really good point actually too. I don't know how to say that either. We were like, very nice frame, kind of. You can, again, he's well built, wouldn't get pushed off like you mentioned, and kind of uses that strength to almost push off and kind of cover ground faster. And I think that will definitely help in a tough physical league like the Championship, and then even going up to the Premier League, where we know that's one of the most physical leagues, probably the most physical league in the world. So
no doubt,
it'd be great to see Derby County kind of continue this form, sneak into the Premier League there, and right along with them, Duane Holmes.
Yeah, that would be nice. or Frank Lampard gets approached about the Chelsea job. Maybe we'll see
Ooh.
Dwayne Christian, but no, I
Oh,
don't think that'll happen. But
that'd be something.
yeah.
But yeah, I know we want to switch gears again back to the Bundesliga, Austin, for another great, promising striker.
That's right. A lot of action in the Bundesliga this weekend, and the striker we want to talk about right now is Josh Sargent. So Josh made a 10-minute appearance again for Werder in their I guess their first game of 2019. So Josh was the first offensive substitute off the bench for Bremen, which I think is important to note, especially since Florian Kohfeldt's been kind of coy, all season, saying that Josh will be slowly integrated into the first team. But it looks like Josh has kind of put himself in the position of being at least the first or second option off the bench for Florian when they're trying to find a goal. And in this game, Josh came in, Bremen were up 1-0. They ended up going on to win the game 1-0. But it was a game where he was coming into a game that was still very tightly contested, and Hanover had several chances in the final minutes of this game where they could have scored. So, Florian put Josh on to score that crucial second goal to kind of put Bremen over the line. But unfortunately, he didn't score in this game. He did get a few opportunities in his 10 minutes on the pitch. There was a ball that kind of fell to him 2 times in the box, but they weren't really clear chances or anything of that nature. So, I think he did the best he could in this 10-minute appearance. He did some good jobs tracking back, winning the ball back, I think he won 2 fouls in the 10 minutes, and it was able to slow the game down, help Bremen waste some seconds, some time off the clock. And yeah, he did a very good job in this appearance. So, we just wanted to say that Josh had some more minutes for Bremen, which is always cool to see.
Yeah, that's definitely cool. And it's nice to see, Austin, like you mentioned quickly, that he wasn't kind of forcing anything. He was just kind of playing exactly the way Florian kind of wanted him to, and nothing too, exaggerated or kind of trying anything over the top. Just kind of came in and did the job.
Yeah, he looked very comfortable anytime he was, in or around the ball, on or around the ball, I should say. He looked very composed, which was, that's good to see. That's something you want to see from a young player, not out of his element. And I thought in this game he was very in his element. He was out thinking several players when you drew those fouls. So if he can continue just to help Werder whichever way they possibly can. In this game he didn't score, but he preserved the lead. So that's, in my opinion, job well done.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
So hopefully we'll get to see, some more minutes. I think Josh has kind of really put himself into, Florian Kohfeldt's plans, even though he doesn't want to really say it outright. He wants to make sure that Josh continues to work hard and keeps earning his minutes. I also think that right now he's, one of those first options when it comes to who can score goals, at least as a substitute. So, now we got to see if Josh can ever start a game, but that I'm fine with him making sub appearances for the time being. So.
Yeah, me too. And I'm not even going to listen to anything the Werder coach says, because he's been teasing us, Austin.
That's true. He has been teasing us, and he's a very I don't know. He likes to keep his cards close to his chest. He doesn't like to give away his plans. So that's fair, I guess.
Good poker face.
That's true. Yeah, very good poker face. Wouldn't want to play poker with him. But yeah, so now let's go back to Scotland and talk about another Scottish Yankee?
That's right, Austin. Another Scottish Yankee. And that's Ian Harkes. And that is the son of famous U.S. legend John Harkes, who actually played at Derby County for a solid period, which is funny. But don't want to get off track here. Ian Harkes made the move January 15th, pretty recently, from DC United to Dundee United in the Scottish Championship. So that's the second tier there. And actually got his debut here in a 4-0 Scottish Cup win over Montrose. So that he subbed in the 70 minutes, I believe, or the 70th minute, excuse me. And, kind of scored, right at the end, I think it's the 90th minute, quick little ball that kind of came across and he flicked it in. Pretty simple goal. But again, great to score in your debut. And it was not the best defending in the world from what I watched for the Montrose. But again, Ian kind of, saw that was a dangerous kind of spot to be right outside the 6-yard box and, just flicked it in. So congrats to Ian making the move from the United States over to Scotland.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting move. I think it. I don't know. I was gonna say it comes with a risk, but I guess we were just talking off air that his contract with DC United expired, so he wasn't going to go back to DC United. So going abroad was an interesting move and a move that could pay off for him if Dundee United get back to the Scottish Premiership.
Yeah, that's
give him higher competition in my mind, a little bit higher. I wouldn't say people are going to have their own takes about where the MLS is, and I think some of the top MLS teams are just as good, if not better, than some of the top Scottish Premier League teams. But hey, challenging yourself in a new culture also, I guess, adds to building yourself as a player. So
yeah,
I like it.
I like it as well. And it's funny. I guess it was his grandfather's favorite team too. That he
really?
Dundee United, and I know, like you mentioned, I think you bring up a good point that some of the MLS sides, honestly, I think what maybe loses a little merit or value is just their lack of, I guess you could say, the CONCACAF Champions League being not as highly coveted as even being in the Europa League or the Champions League over in Europe.
Right.
Scotland does have that leg up, so we could see Ian, kind of struggling at DC United to get more minutes now with some of their other strong young midfielders. We were talking off air, Canoes and who was the other one, Austin?
Chris Durkin.
That's right, Durkin. Yeah. So again, I think this is really just a good solid move. I would say kind of lateral, but maybe almost a little more shifted upwards with potential. To get into some of those competitions, get them back into the first division in Scotland, and I think he has the tools to start, right away. I was kind of looking at some of the roster, and they have a lot of turnover and stuff in the midfield there. So I think he could easily kind of cement his position there, and hopefully, again, like I mentioned, bring Dundee back out of the championship there.
Yeah, and you also got to think he was cut from DC United, or at least his contract wasn't renewed. So you didn't really know where his career path was going to go in America. Maybe he would have found another MLS club, or maybe he would have had to go to the USL to get minutes. So I think going abroad and testing yourself in a new culture, different environment, and kind of starting a new career overseas is a risk, and I think it could pay off for him.
Yeah, and we've seen a few examples now with some youngsters that have kind of gone, abroad, Americans abroad, that have gone to some even those leagues in Norway or some of those other comparable smaller countries.
Denmark.
Denmark, exactly. With some of those teams that maybe aren't even on the same level as MLS, but the top few teams are, competing for a Europa League or Champions League spots. So you never know what could happen with Ian Harkes, and we wish him all the best over there. So we'll be monitoring many of the Scottish Yanks, Austin.
That's true, yeah. I think we're going to have probably around 4 or 5 here coming up probably by the next month or two. So
that's all right. A few more with Celtic probably, but we'll save that for another episode.
Yeah, would you say South America?
South America, I like it.
I gotta think of something more clever, I guess.
Yeah.
Can't steal the Shock America.
We'll get
tagline,
there.
But
I know. Obviously, shifting away from Scotland and going back to Germany. Yet again. But a player that is going to be in England over in the United Kingdom soon. And Austin, who would that be?
That would be Christian Pulisic. So Christian came on for a 14-minute appearance for Dortmund in their 1-0 and big win against RB Leipzig. So Christian, came on to kind of solidify the game, give Dortmund maybe some more life in the attacking third to finish out the game. And he did just that for Dortmund. This was a very good substitute appearance from him. He played very within himself, which is what I've wanted from him all season, especially since he's gotten kind of reserved to the bench. Or hasn't really been a starter for Dortmund recently. I think he needed to kind of come back and kind of just play within himself more. And in this his time on the pitch in this game, he did just that. He had actually 2 chances that he created, which were pretty good, and just came from him being very, very good going forward with the ball, and also just picking good passes. So I really liked what I saw from Christian in this game. I think it was a pretty good start to 2019 for him. And, if he can just continue to be now kind of a puzzle piece for Dortmund in this, title challenging season, I think that's a great way for Christian Pulisic to go out with Dortmund. If he could, help them across the finish line, help them win the Bundesliga for the first time in 6 years or something.
Yeah, it's been a while since Klopp, right?
Yeah, and it's been Bayern every other time since then. So I think they've won it for 5 years in a row. So
something crazy.
So if even if he's not a main star of this team and they can win the Bundesliga with him being kind of a role player for them, I think that's a good way for him to end his Dortmund career. And I think this substitute appearance, helped them get 3 points on the day, and will help them towards that goal. So I liked what I saw from Christian.
Yeah, I completely agree. And again, I think he's in a good spot where he is not, not being left off the bench and being, unused substitute at all. So again, football changes in a second. So I've even watched, just being a big Liverpool fan, a lot of some of the role players sitting on the bench, and you kind of see Fabinho finally getting in, and other players, even some of the American players that we've been talking about all season long, kind of going in and out of the lineups. Even Duane Holmes, prime example. You just kind of have your patience there. You're one of those first 2 in and out. And again, don't want to wish anything bad. I want Dortmund to win, but an injury or two, and Pulisic again could be right back in there starting. I think he's in a great spot, Austin. A great way to finish off his time in Germany.
Yeah, and I think I have 2 things I guess I want to say. So I think you saw Jakob Brun-Larsen, however you want to pronounce it, play consistent minutes for Dortmund for a period of time this year. And I think the main reason why he played those minutes was because he played within himself. He didn't try to do too much. He was a very team-oriented player. A lot of people on Twitter were saying he tracked back a lot and did a lot of defensive work, and that was one of the main reasons why he was on the pitch. And while I think there is some validity to that, I think another reason was because he didn't, do a lot of crazy skill moves, or didn't try to take on players by himself and be the main star of the team or anything like that. And that's, obviously not what a young player coming into the team for the first time should do. But I think, he played very conservatively. And I think that's kind of what Christian Pulisic wasn't doing in his minutes on the pitch for Dortmund this year. And I think that's kind of why there's been other people who've been preferred over him this year. So seeing in this appearance for Dortmund in the new year, him kind of taking a step back, being a little bit more conservative with what he tries to do when he's on the pitch, I think that's, refreshing in my mind. And I think that could be, like you said, Pat, if there is an opportunity that comes up for him to get back into the starting lineup, I think that will be a reason why maybe he'll win that spot back.
Yeah, that's a great point. I want to piggyback off you there. Is maybe it almost seemed maybe like a more mature performance from what you described, and definitely a psychological effect with the U.S. failure to qualify and just all this riding on his shoulders, being the next big American prospect, maybe trying to play more too Messi-esque in a way, and maybe kind of again simplifying it, going back to basics, and kind of just again, like you mentioned, kind of playing more conservatively, playing within himself, and not trying to do too much every time.
Yeah, and that's why I think he'll succeed at Chelsea too. I think he has all the talent in the world. He's a great player with the ball at his feet. He's great in tight areas. He has good vision. It's just at times he tries to do a little bit too much. He thinks he can take on 2-3 players in situations where it might be more efficient or effective to just pass the ball back to another player and kind of wait for a better chance to come his way. So I think, if he can, like I said, just play conservatively, hold the ball, don't lose it, don't try to do too much, just include the other players that are playing very well for Dortmund this year around him. I think he'll be very successful, and I think that's what we'll need to do at Chelsea to be very successful, and I think he will be able to do that at Chelsea. So, yeah.
Let's go Pulisic.
That's right. So that's all for this part of the episode. Now let's go over to Quick Kicks.
And now, all you viewers, it's my favorite time of the episode here. It's none other than Quick Kicks.
So you could test Dwayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out. The opening goal for the United States.
And to start off this action-packed segment of Quick Kicks here, Austin, we're going to travel over to England, where Deandre Yedlin went the full 90 in a 3-0 win for Newcastle over Cardiff City.
That's right. And going over to Germany, we want to let you guys know that Tyler Adams was in the 18 for Leipzig in their unfortunate 1-0 loss to Dortmund. However, he was an unused substitute. So we'll have to wait another week for Tyler Adams' debut in the Bundesliga.
And going over to a fan favorite in the Netherlands, and that is Andrija Novakovich. Had the full 90 minutes, but involved an unfortunate 5-1 loss for Fortuna Sittard.
That's right. And going back over to Mexico, we want to talk about a striker, and that would be Rubio Rubin, who scored a really nice free kick goal in what we believe is his Dorados debut. So let us know if it's not his debut, either on Twitter, Instagram, or in the comments section. And going back over to Germany, we want to let you guys know that Haji Wright actually played the final few minutes in stoppage time for Schalke when he came on as a substitute. Looked pretty good in the appearance, however, missed a wide-open goal. So that was unfortunate. But over the winter break, it was also announced that he will be permanently part of the first team for Schalke. So congrats to Haji.
That's awesome news, Austin. And going back over to England here, involved in an EFL trophy action was Lynden Gooch, as the fans cheered, as he scored a beautiful curler in Sunderland's 2-0 win over Man City's U21. So great to see Gooch score a beautiful goal, and hope to continue that form.
That's right. And staying in England, for our final player, we want to talk about Charlie Kelman, who had an unbelievable goal from the halfway line in the game 2 weeks ago. And then after that game, he also signed his first professional contract with Southend United. So congrats to him. And then this past weekend, he actually came on for a 4-minute appearance and looked really good in this game as well. So Charlie Kelman doing big things in England. And now moving over to our young Ya, we want to let you guys know about Cameron Harper, who's a 17-year-old winger from California who is formerly of the Patadores Academy over there in California. And he recently joined the Celtic U18 team over in Scotland. So, Pat, another, Scottish Yankee.
Another Scottish Yank, Austin.
So, so keep your eyes on Cameron, and, And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe down below.
And don't forget to check out our amazing social media. We have Instagram and Twitter. You guys have been fantastic with some of the posts and interacting, so keep it coming. And we love to share and debate more about the U.S. national team.
That's right. And, we also had some requests to make our videos into a podcast. So we're currently in the process of doing that. Don't worry, guys. We're listening to you guys and trying to, start that whole process, and hope that we can do that in the next few weeks. So that's something to look forward to, especially, if you've been waiting for that for a little while, because I know we've had some people who've asked us, Pat.
That's right, Austin. Yeah, we have to please the people. And again, I think what also is something to look forward to is one day, Austin, a few years down the road, what's going to happen?
That's right. 2026. Book it. We're going to win the World Cup.